I think this is a good note for everybody out there.
He says that I don't pull well on TikTok, so
He doesn't.
It's
just a fact. It just doesn't pull well. It's called social media for a reason, and it's not selfish media.
I just gotta clear something up. You weren't the 12th man on the field.
There is no easy way to get anything ever.
This is Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio podcast, where we discuss the connection between life and acting.
Alrighty, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mornings with Matt on the Deering Acting Studio podcast. This week we're talking about stories. So today is entitled, What's Your Story? Such a good question, and such a hard question, actually. So before we dive into that, let me hit up our daily devotional. Today we've got Matthew 21:22. It goes like this: if you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer. This is
one of those verses that gets overused in way
Probably,
people
yeah.
don't understand it.
Well, it's
like, well, I asked for it and I'm not getting it.
It's one of the most, quoted verses. And,
Yeah.
And it's one of those ones that, when you're going through the Bible and there's some rough stuff in there in the Bible, when you run into this one, you're like, ooh, I like that one. I'm going to hang on to that one.
Yeah.
So the context of this verse is actually Jesus walking through the desert, I think, and runs into a fig tree. And he's hungry, and he goes up to the fig tree. There's no fruit. And so Jesus actually curses the fig tree, which is interesting because Jesus was hungry. Wonder why he didn't just be like, fruit. But he didn't do that. He cursed it instead, and the fig tree just shriveled up right in front of their faces.
Dang.
And the disciples were kind of amazed, and they were like, whoa. Like, how'd that happen? How'd that work out? And then I'm gonna paraphrase Jesus here, but he basically says something along the lines of, that's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
With the faith of a mustard seed, with believing in God and connecting, and if you really believe, you could actually just tell that mountain to just move, and the mountain would move.
Hey, get out the way.
So Jesus, there's a lot of miracles on the way. There's a lot of things coming. But isn't that interesting? Like I don't know. Why didn't he just say make fruit?
Mm-hmm.
Why did he say shrivel up and die?
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of weird. But
Jesus you're never gonna produce fruit the rest of your days. Fig tree, you're always just gonna be a nothing burger.
Yeah, well, I mean, some trees struggle,
Yeah.
And so maybe he saw that outcome. It was like, there's no point in a pointless tree, I don't know.
I mean, he didn't say you're no longer gonna exist.
That's true.
He just said you're no longer gonna you will never produce fruit ever. And not only that, but since you weren't ready for me, ooh, I think we found it. Since you weren't ready for me when I came to you, shrivel up.
Dang.
Should have been
That's
ready.
a deep analogy there.
Should have been ready.
Yeah. Peter's like, oh no.
You don't gotta get ready if you stay ready.
That's a good point.
All
Yeah.
right. So today is about what's your story.
Mm-hmm.
And really when you ask that question, like if you walk up to someone, so tell me what's your story? What are you really asking is who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody fumbles pretty much through this question because you try to find the perfect balance between humility, not talking about yourself, not bragging about yourself, and also qualifying yourself with that you're good enough to be in the conversation. And so when asked, who are you? A lot of times what we do is we go to what we're doing as the answer to who are you? So if I said, Joey, who are you? Then you might answer, well, I'm an editor. I work at an acting school. I've got a brother, and you start to sort of qualify yourself based upon your work, based upon what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But that's not really your story. That's not really who you are. The essence of who you are, and it's really like if I said, what's your story? What I really mean is how'd you get to where you are? Not like what are you doing right now, but like what did you do? What's the story that got you here?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's your story.
Yeah.
And so as we navigate that idea, we have to figure out, well, what is our story?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I? I am a culmination of the many small decisions I've made throughout my life.
Yeah.
The reason I can tell you, I can sit here and say my life was changed on February 2nd, 2018, the day I woke up, is because on that day I started making different decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And those decisions have shaped me into a different person.
Yeah.
And I look forward to continuing down this path, continuing to evolve into a new person.
Yeah.
And my story continually changing.
And those first few decisions were like, some of them were drastic, but other ones like you built little at a time, right? So that was the day. There were a couple of big things in your life that you completely changed, did a 180 on. And then like anything, it takes time to fully get there. You don't want to just jump to the end game right away. Like we can't take that. So you took one step at a time through since that day, working on certain things with yourself, going through your goals and putting down little things, doing the 66-day habits where you would just pick apart little things that you didn't want to identify with anymore.
Yeah, and in fact, I can look back and well, I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this for later because there's something there's something going on with me that I would say, okay, I'm going to take full accountability for it. That way I'm in control of my own story. Because you are, if you choose to be, you're in control of your story. You're not in control of your circumstances. That's what's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Your circumstances are going to change. They're going to vary per person.
Yeah.
But what you do, the decisions that you make from within your circumstances, most definitely are your fault. And basically, then your circumstances change.
Yeah.
Based upon the decisions you make.
Brian will freak out if he's here because one of our favorite worship songs is called My Story. And in the song, it talks about the idea of like each of us has a story, but really to tell our story, if you're a believer, is to tell of God, to tell of your journey in the world and like finding faith and all that. And it's a really neat one because it kind of points out the human aspect of us and the decisions we make, the sins we do, but it's like, but to tell your story, to tell the truth of all that, to bring that forward is to tell of God. Mm-hmm. And I love that.
That is good. And think about this too. Throughout the Bible, it doesn't turn out well for people that are like, it's not my fault.
Nope.
It does not work out well. We're called to say the truth, to tell the truth, to come to the truth, and then to get better, basically, to improve.
This was a concept that it took a while to learn.
There's no song that's like, it's not my fault, Lord.
Not a Christian song. I'm sure there is a song that it's not my fault.
It wasn't me. Yeah, but it's not. But it's not attached to.
That's a great
Yeah,
point.
it's not attached to God. That's for sure.
Love that.
All right, so here's the deal. Okay, so when it comes to your story, your life, where you are, here's the key. The key is to get to the place where you can say, all right, here's what's what. Here's decisions I've made. Here's where I am. This is where I am. These were the decisions I made that caused the life that I'm currently living right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I multiply that forward and go, all right, what decisions am I currently making that are going to shape my future? And that's a different story. That's something we're going to talk about tomorrow, which is how to change your story. But right now, I want to come to terms with, what is your story? What are you accountable for? And the answer is everything.
Yeah. That's
how it goes. So you haven't really talked about this too much, because this was something that I kind of recommended you don't talk about too much, because it was just welling up in negativity. But I'm gonna bring this up real quick, because this is a great example, and it's a tough example.
Sure.
Because this is a circumstantial thing.
Mm-hmm.
Joey had his car stolen this week. That sucks. I mean, that sucks. Your car was stolen. You still don't have it back, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Joey's car was stolen from the apartment complex where he lives. No excuse for the person who did this thing. It's a bad thing to do. It's a mean thing to do. You think you don't affect somebody. You think probably a lot of criminals feel like, well, yeah, it's going to be super inconvenient for the person, but they'll just claim insurance and they'll get their... Well, Joey didn't have that type of insurance that covered the car being stolen. So he's just out a car.
Mm-hmm.
And I happen to know, because I helped Joey, that to get this car, he had to save up for quite a while. Had the money ready, was like a big deal, made the purchase, his first car that he bought on his own. Very proud of the vehicle, something very cool to drive around, and we're still very hopeful the car's going to turn up. And I mentioned this to Joey about talking about this on the show, and he's like, okay. And then I was like, and I'm also going to take you through why it's your fault. And he's like, I'm gonna hold my breath for a minute.
Yeah.
And it took him about a minute to process, and then he finally said, "You know what? I trust you. We'll go ahead and bring it up. We'll talk about it." And I said, "Okay." So that's where we are. So here's what we're gonna do. We're ready for our one commercial break here, really quick. And when we come back, we're gonna talk about why it's Joey's fault that somebody else came over and stole his car. I'm going to give you the exact circumstances, what happened. Then we're going to backtrack. We're going to figure out how this is actually Joey's own fault that some other person came and stole his vehicle.
I chose steering because I feel like I can take everything that I've learned in acting class and apply it to the real world, to business, to interviews, and just meeting everyday people, learning how to listen better, and it's been an amazing experience so far.
I don't want you to think about getting through the monologue.
Young people.
Yes.
Let's go!
Because my job isn't to work the monologue. My job is to work on you.
It's not about how many classes are on the resume. It's about your work ethic and persistence.
Who's further along than they were when they walked in the ring?
Circle up, please.
Your lives will all be changed and you'll grow if you really learn to listen in this way.
Will you help me kill her? You have to react to that from his point of view as honestly as possible.
Punch him in the face. No, you don't know nothing. Come on.
As soon as you've solved the puzzle, the scene's over.
Okay, and we're back. And so Joey's car got stolen. That's where we left it off. And we're gonna go down. We're gonna dive down a path here. Why it's Joey's fault that he had his car stolen.
Guys, I'm real nervous for this segment.
Okay, so let me see if I get the facts straight. All right, Joey.
Okay.
So you were this postmaster class.
Yes.
So you're feeling a little tired. It's Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Day of the Lord.
Yes.
You pull in the parking lot. You pull a couple spots away from Brian.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, somebody breaks into Brian's car because he left the door open. Right?
Yeah, his car was unlocked.
Somebody goes into his middle console, finds your spare key in his middle console, which you had given him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then must have just hit the button or something, found your car, took your car.
Mm-hmm.
Easy peasy, don't have to break the window, nothing. I have the key, I'm just going to take it and go.
Yeah. That's pretty much how it went down.
Bummer. Bummer.
I mean, it's not a major fact to the story, but my car was actually here until 10:15 that night.
So we're narrowing down like the time period.
Oh yeah, it's a very tight 7-hour window when this happened.
Crazy. And I don't think so. So what's interesting is it doesn't seem like that your car was targeted. It seems like Brian's car was targeted. Your car ended up as a as a casualty.
Yeah, maybe. I mean it definitely could be that way.
Because otherwise it's a major inside job for somebody to know that Brian keeps your car key inside his car. Like no one would know to start there.
True. But the point was brought up, and it's a pretty valid one, that it could be somebody in the complex that sees us go and leave together all the time.
Could be. But still.
Yeah.
Still, it's hard to connect finding your key in his car.
Yeah. I mean, it's really your lucky day if you're a robber.
Well, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was, right?
Yeah.
They went in looking for whatever they were looking for, or looking to maybe hotwire the other vehicle, seeing if something's in there. Okay, so now this is a part of your story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How old are you?
21.
21. So when you were 21, you bought your first car, and it got stolen.
Yep.
Okay. Your story. Now, how is this your fault? Let's go backwards, okay? Why would you ever keep a key in a middle console of another car?
Well, the quick answer is I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. Okay,
Yeah.
you wouldn't. You wouldn't. Now, you gave the key to your brother. Why?
Because as he's coming back from the hospital, I told him at the beginning, I was like, I can take your car on the mornings where you feel weak because my car is much lighter. His car's kind of heavy to drive. So I just gave him that option, and he was like, oh, thanks. So he's used it a couple times. Got a speeding ticket in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you gave your key, your only spare key, to your brother. Okay. Let me ask you this. Does your brother have a good reputation right now with keys?
No.
Did he prior to this incident? Think about the storage unit.
Oh, I thought you meant like...
No, like does
I
he have
thought
a,
there was
does he have
like
a- does
an
he have
end
a-
to that
no,
sentence.
No, I'm asking.
Yeah.
Did he prior to you giving him the key have a good reputation with keys?
No.
No, he did
No,
not.
no.
Okay. Therefore, you left your key in a position to be lost, to be stolen, to be misplaced.
Yes.
I have a spare key to my car. I didn't give it to Brian.
Yeah.
It's in a particular drawer in a particular space where I know where it is. If my wife needs to drive my car, she can anytime. She can use my keys. She can use the spare key. But the spare key is where the spare key is.
Yeah.
Because I know better than that. Okay? So that, I would say, is your fault, not Brian's. It's your fault because you've given something to somebody expecting a different result before the change had been made necessarily.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you might even notice, like, hey, where's my key? Might want to ask that question, right?
Yeah,
Where's my spare key? I need to know where that is. That's important because that's my car.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we're going to talk about habits. Okay, so you were here till 10. I know we had master class. Were you working the whole time after master class, or did you take a little break?
No, so
eating. What was going on?
So I offloaded the files, left here probably about 5:15, 5:30, with Brian, and so we took his car. So I locked my car, kept it here. Then we went out to Sprouts, got some shrimp and noodles, and then I went home, cooked those up, had some dinner, sat on the couch for a minute, and then came back here to set up the show for Monday because all the equipment was still in the theater. So I came back on my bike because my car was here, and then did all that. Got done, like I said, about like 10, and then I wanted to bring my laptop home, and I had the dog with me, I'm pretty sure. So I was like, I can't really ride my bike with my dog and the laptop. So I just grabbed my car, took that, put it right next, like not even right next to, probably like 5 spots away from Brian's. But I did, this is a very vital part of this story to me. We do have the same bumper sticker for the studio, so I'm like, in a flurry of 100 other cars on that side, it's kind of easy to point out that we work at the same spot, or we live in the same place.
I'm telling you, it's much easier than that. Criminals, you're giving the criminals too much credit. You push a button, the light comes on.
That's true.
I mean, that's basically it. You push the panic button on there and it beeps, beeps, beeps. I mean, that's you'll find it. Like I find my vehicle by pushing the button and walking around the parking lot if I forgot where the car is.
Yeah.
right? So this person just looks like they forgot where the car was. They're looking around and going, up, there it is. Boom.
I still walk around and push the button when I walk home sometimes.
Yeah.
Hoping that it'll sound off.
Yeah, there you go. So even if they had found this key, there's a potential that these criminals drive through the neighborhood, drive through a different parking lot,
Yeah.
and keep pushing the button, hoping something blinks.
Yeah.
Okay. You could do the same thing with a garage door opener, by the way.
Yeah.
Same idea.
Totally.
Could take a garage door opener, could go around neighborhoods and then start pushing buttons till one opens.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So here we are. We're in this position now. So just to finalize this, what were there other things in your car?
Yep.
What was in there?
All of my sports equipment.
All your sports equipment. Okay.
Yeah. Which kind of mattered to me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What else?
Had my Hopkins jersey in there.
Your Hopkins jersey, which you loved.
That hurt, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, in the back seat I had the plays, because we picked those up at your house.
Big bucket of plays. Okay.
Yeah. And then that was, pretty sure that was it. That was in the trunk. Oh, and the karaoke machine my dad got us.
And
That was in the
a
back.
new karaoke machine.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
And I mean, they got a transmission fluid, or the engine coolant fluid, a big jug of it, brand new, because I tried to take care of my car.
okay. All right. So, other than the sports equipment, all the other stuff in your car didn't really belong in your car.
That's true. Yeah.
So if we look at the plays, I happen to know when you picked those up from my house, and I appreciate it. I was post surgery. Brian brought over the bucket. I asked if you could pick it back up, take it back to storage. So that's in your car. Mm-hmm. Then there's a karaoke machine that really was given to you at some point. Needs to come into the house. Needs to wherever it's going to go, but needs to go someplace.
Yeah.
Hopkins jersey. It's a article of clothing that you love. That's a part of your wardrobe, whatnot. Needs to not be in your car.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be there. So what this shows us is it shows us a habit of not finishing strong necessarily.
Now I will play the defense attorney.
Okay.
Okay. Karaoke machine is the only Bluetooth speaker I have.
Okay.
So I had that with my sports equipment because when I go to the court, I blast it.
Okay.
So could have taken it inside. Probably should have taken it inside. But it was out there because I often forget it when I go to play, and I like to listen to the tunes.
Sure. Well, and then and fine,
Yeah.
but
Your point still stands.
you have to know anything I leave in my car, I'm leaving vulnerable. Anything.
Yes, I'm aware of that now.
Well, it's just the way it is. I mean, period. Like that's
Yeah, totally.
those are facts.
Totally.
Whatever I leave in my car, I'm leaving vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, would it be convenient? Okay, maybe. Should I have a different Bluetooth player? Maybe.
Sure.
That wouldn't have cost that much.
Yeah, that's true.
So you start to wrap your mind around, like, what was I thinking? Really, was the karaoke machine still in the box?
No.
It was out of the box. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So and then even like how often am I taking all this stuff someplace and using it? Mm-hmm. Probably less than once a week right now.
Yeah, it depends on the week.
Depends
but-
on the season. I mean, right? Because of coronavirus, we haven't gotten to do that a whole lot. So it's nice, convenient to have it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now there could always be a sports section, something where it's like ready to go, and you take whatever you're going to take with you. Okay, fine. So even if we set the karaoke machine aside, which I don't know that we should, but we could, then we still have the other things, which are we're just showing a habit. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I would say you rub off on the people around you. So you and Brian, same idea. Brian probably had things in his car as well. and him just the little thing of not locking the car again is not finishing strong.
Yeah.
And when you finish strong, you don't forget little things like locking your door. Mm-hmm. You cross check, and I always say, expect the best in somebody when they have failed you. So in this particular case, let's just say Brian failed you by leaving the key in the car. Now is it his fault? Yes and no. The same way it's your fault, yes and no. But like somebody else did this, obviously. But you can expect the best in Brian where you're going, he didn't intend to hurt me. He didn't intend for my car to get stolen. That's you thinking the best in him. Mm-hmm. However, on the other side, you don't expect people to change.
Yeah.
When they haven't proven that they've already changed. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you end up in this sort of like, place where you're going to continually be disappointed over and over and over and over and over again.
Totally. Yeah.
So if someone has shown over time that they have a really hard time saying thank you, and you just keep doing nice things and keep doing nice things and keep doing nice things, and then you're like, I am so upset. You never say thank you. Honestly, you should have expected them to never say thank you.
Yeah.
That's their personality. Mm-hmm. Right?
Facts.
So the reason we want this to be your fault, and again, that sounds harsh when I say it that way. It's just the language. It's more like we want you to always be in control and accountable. Mm-hmm. Therefore, and I think you mentioned this earlier, that this was a part of your process you got yourself through. You didn't want to feel like a victim.
Yeah. No, 100%. It was really hard to go through, but on the other end of it, you don't want to just be like, oh, that sucks. Can't believe that happened to me. Because I could. But I also want to learn from it.
There you go.
And hope it doesn't happen again.
You go through it or you grow through it. And here's the thing.
Exactly. And so if you take the lessons, then at least if it were to happen in the future or attempt to happen, then my odds are going down if I play my cards right. Because it's silly that I paid like $130 a month for insurance and it didn't cover that thing. It's kind of silly. It means right. I need to figure out what the heck I'm paying $130 for,
Right. And again, that goes back to you.
Yeah.
Because somebody else did the insurance process for you. Mm-hmm. You probably signed on the dotted line or somebody else signed on the dotted line without you reading, without you knowing, here's what it covers, here's what it doesn't.
Yeah.
I ran into the same thing when we first when we first found out that we were pregnant with Jack, and figured out that we were paying $500 a month or something crazy for our health insurance, and it didn't cover maternity.
Oh, geez.
And it's going to cost us $6,000 to have a baby, and we don't have $6,000.
Yeah.
It was a gut punch like you wouldn't believe. My wife was crying. We were just like, it was scary because we're going through all this life change, and then we're trying our best to keep our heads above the water, and then it's like we get slapped with this news where we just assumed health insurance covered, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I actually read the fine details of contracts, but it took me enough times of getting screwed over before I finally started doing that.
Totally.
Got screwed over on business leases, got screwed over on home mortgages, got screwed over on insurance, got screwed over all. It took me a long time to make it my fault. I kept being the victim.
Yeah.
Once I figured out how to make it my fault, things adjusted. And really the thing that adjusted was me, not the policies, not the different things. I adjusted.
Yeah.
So then I go, okay, if I'm going to have this particular type of insurance, then what I have to do is I have to also be putting money aside, assuming if this, or this goes wrong, I'm not covered, I have to cover myself.
Yeah, totally. No, that makes perfect sense. And yeah, that's just it's hard, you know, but it's a good lesson to have. I think the biggest gut punch about it was just the initial blow where you're like, that can't have happened. Like, where is my car?
Right.
Like, I walked to the studio, I walked around our whole complex, places I've never parked before.
Right.
You know, I was just like, maybe I was tired and I just parked over here. And I was like, even though I knew it was a lost cause.
Sure.
And then on top of that, I think the part that hurt me the worst about it is I'm like, most of my life I've been taken care of as far as driving. And I've had like kind of like a beat up, whether it be a pickup truck, SUV, whatever. I just graciously took whatever I was given from my dad or my mom or whatever. But like, this was the first thing I ever really worked hard for. Mm-hmm. And I barely had it. And so like, I want to say probably 2.5, well, not quite 2, but about 2 years of saving up. Like, most of my check went towards that, you know? So to have that taken away, I was just like, and my dad helped me remember, he was like, that it's a possession.
Yeah.
He was like, it's a gut punch, but it's a possession. He was like, your house good, Brian's house good, nobody got hurt. Some, like, a lot of times with a robbery, somebody's gonna get hurt. A lot of times when your car gets messed up, you get in a car accident. Like, there's a lot of good things that didn't happen, right? And so he helped me focus on that. But I think that's why it stung so bad initially and put me into denial about the whole thing, which took about like a day to get out of.
Yeah. Which, you know, kudos to you. That's not very long.
Well, I mean, I had you and
I mean, yeah, you had help,
couple
but
people,
but still, it's like, you know, and this is why we mentioned not talking about it all the time, because I didn't want this to be your story. I didn't want you to go, I'm unlucky.
Yeah.
You know, blah, blah, blah. Instead, just to go, I made decisions. I put myself in a vulnerable spot. There's where I am. Now I'm going to make different decisions and make sure that I'm in a different spot. And when I have my next car, or get this one back, I'm going to be in a better position, smarter. I'm going to use this as something that helped me grow and accelerated me as a human being through this big slap in the face. And I'll take it as a God-given gift of a speed bump, because I could have lost my car. I could have had my car stolen when I had my first $20,000 car.
Yeah.
You know, so if I learn the lesson now, then I'll progress through this, and I'll look at things differently, take care of things differently, and use this as a springboard for the future of who I'm going to be and the small decisions I'm going to make that really, really matter, because they do.
Yeah, totally. No, and I'm mega thankful that I had like my computer and certain things that are also really valuable to me with me.
Yeah.
You know, instead of in there.
All right, good. So we got through this.
Yeah.
Stinks, man. Somebody stole your car. It's your fault. It's your fault. You take accountability for it. It's your story. Now we're going to move forward from it. And something good's going to come from it because of that. Because of that, something really good's going to happen.
Yeah.
It just is, because your mind's going to be in the right place. You're going to decide you are wealthy, that you deserve good things, that wealth, prosperity, happiness is coming your way. You believe it 100%. You believe you are a lucky person in general.
Yeah.
And I don't know how or when. It's not my job, but if you're on the right wavelength, good will come to you, guaranteed.
Yeah. 100p.
All right, we're gonna wrap up here with some homework here. So we've been going through a storytelling assignment. So you've got like a nice outline now. Now I'd like you to fill out the details. You can start writing the story now. If you're writing your short story, I think now's the time to do it, right? Start filling in the details and come up with a character flaw of sorts, something that's like holding your main character back. Understand what it is in their backstory, and understand that without that flaw, there's nothing to overcome. Then there is no story. So they need like an internal conflict as well as an external conflict. And so here we have, if we just kind of boil this down and go, okay, Joey, an internal conflict of, let's say, finishing strong, we just use as an example today, and then an external conflict of people trying to steal his stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so then it's like, okay, cool. Now we're dealing with the internal conflict, which will then impact the external conflict, and then you'll be in a different position. So so write that into your story. And then secondly, think of something in your life right now that maybe you're thinking to yourself is an unlucky break. You're thinking to yourself, it stinks that this thing happens to me or keeps happening to me. And see what happens if you can make it your fault instead. No matter how bad it is, no matter how easy it is to blame somebody else, see if you can make it your fault. See if you can take full accountability for it and therefore be free of it so it doesn't repeat, so it doesn't keep happening. The same thing can be said if you get into a car accident and it's an accident. And the first thing you want to say is, the police officer says, well, were you at fault? No, it wasn't at fault. Well, okay, maybe to get out of the ticket, you can say that. But I want you to walk away, and no matter whose fault it is, it's your fault. No matter whose fault it is, it's your fault. Therefore, you can start to put yourself in a different position, become a better driver, become more aware on the road. Because I can tell you, I've probably been almost in more accidents than a lot of other people. But I'm hyper aware on the road. And so not getting into an accident is a part of my mindset from the second I put the ignition on. I'm thinking about how not to get into an accident. I'm preparing to make sure that I think no one's trying to hurt me, but at the same time I expect they're all capable of it. All right. That's it. What's your story, everybody? Make it yours. Be accountable for your story. Thank you for watching. God bless.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.
Have a chippy day, everyone. Rough.